Hello, this is Lalot Arcadio Rivera for Catnocturnals, and we are now in the tutorials for the topic, the ethical frameworks. This is part 3 of the course for my Philo 23 students. We start with going back to the course question. What is the good? What makes us good? What makes us moral? There are different approaches to answer the question, and each approach comes from a framework or a paradigm that shows what makes actions moral. In other words, these ethical frameworks provide a basis or foundation for morality. The frameworks are teleological ethics, deontological ethics, consequential ethics, and contractarian ethics. First is the teleological ethics. This involves the philosophies of Aristotle and St. Thomas Aquinas. They serve as the content of this ethical paradigm. Telos is originally a Greek word for end, aim, or goal. What is teleological speaks of a state where something is involved with a higher goal, an ultimate end, a final purpose, which determines one's direction. Teleological ethics is a basis of a way of life that is guided by a purpose, a final end that provides directedness in a person's pursuits, decisions, and actions. The foundation of this basis is Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. For this part of our learning, we shall use the following of Aristotle's philosophy. First, man as a rational being. Second, happiness as a life of flourishing. And third, the doctrine of the mean. We start with the first, man as a rational animal or man as a rational being. And for our specific use and language in our course, we shall designate this as the first philosophical formulation. Here, Aristotle questions, what is being? Being is anything that has existence. Existence is not, however, limited to physical and material alone. Existence is attributable to anything that can come into presence. It is and is. So what does this mean? Is as a verb. It is considered a verb to be. And in logic, we call that the linking verb as a copula. And in a copula, the function of is to actuate a judgment, and it will complete a thought in such a way that here, if we have a subject and a predicate, a subject is considered a concept or idea, but it is not yet a thought. And for example, we have the bag is red. We have two ideas, bag and red. The subject is the bag, the predicate is red. The copula or the linking verb serves here as a function of fulfilling the predication of red to bag. In that case, the thought is completed. That is how it is explained in logic. But when it comes to existence, as being actuated, being is an actual existence, but the actuality, the actuation of being or the fulfillment of being is not limited to physical reality or realization or material realization alone. For there are beings which are not physical, not material, and yet they are existing. Therefore, when we speak of being, we talk about being in terms of its coming into presence. It is and is. Among beings, Aristotle classified those that have life and those that do not have life. Those with life are called animate, and those without are inanimate. More popularly, this classification involves living things from and non-living things. What is the basis of this classification? Aristotle started with anima. Anima is the Greek term for soul. In this, the soul is considered to be the principle of life. What does this mean? The soul is not life in itself. It is the principle of life. This means that the soul is that which is the reason a thing is called living or a being has life. Focusing on living beings, on the animate, and that those with souls, Aristotle further classifies beings, living beings, into plants, animals, humans. These animate beings are differentiated from each other because they do not have the same kind of soul. Take note that all of these three have souls. They are all considered living, and yet they are not of the same kind. These animate beings are differentiated from each other because their souls are of different nature, thus different kinds of living things. For Aristotle, these beings are plants, animals, and humans, and they depend on the functioning of their souls. The table shows the functions of the soul among plants, animals, and humans. Among all functions of the soul, only rationality is the peculiarity of being human. Thus, this function of the soul makes human naturally human. If that is the case, that humans are naturally endowed with rationality as its peculiar function of its soul, it is rationality so that defines our nature as humans. For this reason, it is expected of every human being to behave and act rationally, as this is a calling of his nature and a peculiar function at that. That means no other type of living being can act rationally but humans. Aristotle then defines what a good human being is. To be a good human being, we ought to act in accordance to our nature as a rational being. 1. Our actions must be ruled by reason. Otherwise, we would be acting inhuman and not properly, if not wrongly. In such case, one becomes a bad person because she or he is not behaving as what a human being ought to behave. Other than that, the rational capacity enables humans to acquire intellectual virtues. It is also part of this natural faculty in man, the ability to make a judgment by weighing on one's mind what is good. The mind can operate to reason what a person from his experience, understands to be good. This rational faculty is inclined to determine the good along his experience of his situation that involves the inner emotions, aspirations, fears, wishes, passions. This capacity enables one's practical wisdom. In Greek, practical wisdom is called phronesis. This is now the basis of what is moral from the perspective of Aristotle's philosophy, particularly on man as a rational animal. Let us code this as our philosophical formulation number 1, man as a rational animal, and our shorter code for this would be phronesis.